Hi, welcome to another guitar we're working on. This is a headless guitar. Customer requested something different, and this is actually for a customer that is not a guitar player, but somebody wanted to put this together for him. So it's a little bit different situation. The string saddles set in a pocket, and after you do the intonation you tighten up a set screw to lock them in place. Here's the parts that came with this kit: a couple of humbuckers, some of the wiring, so we'll take you through the steps and let you know how it turns out. The customer the guitar is being built for is actually a computer programmer, so the person requested that I put some sort of circuitry or something in it. It's kind of a theme type guitar, so I went down to my local computer guy and got some dead components from him and went through what he gave me. The disadvantages: I don't have a lot of room to work with since this has such a small body. I decided to go with this little circuit board, and I think it's kind of cool because it actually has a fan in it. Going to route out a pocket and drop that in the back side of the guitar, and then cover it up with epoxy. On the front side I'm going to put the customer's name. I salvaged the keys off of a keyboard, and I'm actually going to machine a shallow pocket there and put the letters of the customer's name in the front of the guitar. Here I've stained the neck and gave it a couple of coats. I sanded off where it glues in. This is the product I've been using on my necks, and I really like it. I was discovered it at a workshop that I went to for guitar making last summer, and it's available at any sporting goods store or gun store. It's actually designed to touch up stocks, but I put multiple coats on. Now this neck here is for another project I'm working on, a jazz bass, and I've used this Birchwood Casey product exclusively on the neck here. And you can put on, I like to put on 5, 6, 7 coats. I sand lightly between, then on my last couple of coats I wet sand with 1500 and 2000 grit paper, and it gives a very nice feel. It's very slippery feeling, and you can put multiple, like I say, you can put multiple coats on, and I really like the product. It works, and I just rub it on with a small piece of cloth. It's kind of a satin finish, it's not a glossy, so I decided to show that other neck to you. The customer also requested, I have a lot of pickups to choose from, so I said I have black and red, I have the black ones it came with, I have some chrome, and the customer decided that they wanted the chrome pickups, and later on you'll see us switch out the ivory trim rings for some black trim rings. Customer also decided they wanted to go with a green, so that's the color where it drooled down the side. It's actually called winter green stain. There I put the black trim rings on the pickups. Here I've stained and I'm starting to put some finisher on the body. On the body I'm using a poly type clear coat. I put on several coats of that, and I have this little gizmo that I made. You'll see it later. Just some pipe fittings and a little thumb screw that I can tighten down. It's nice to hold necks or bodies. I can rotate them, spray, rotate, and stuff like that. So it works good. Kind of a nice little tool. Here I have the circuit board dropped into place, and my next step is going to be to mix up the 2-part epoxy and essentially fill up that cavity so it's flush. That's the product that I use right there. Just picked it up at my local Menards store. And like I said, this is a set neck guitar, so I did sand off on the backside where the varnish and some of the stain was before I glued it onto the body. More on this later. I had a couple of minor issues that I worked around. There you have the body back for some more coats of finisher. One thing about this guitar, since it's headless, there isn't much room to hang on. Can't hang on to anything any place. It's kind of an odd little thing. There you can see the circuit board is epoxied in. You can also see the routing on the top side where the later on I'll put the keys in. So all my sealer is on. You can I put a soft piece of adhesive foam where the keys will go in. Here I have the pickups in. Here I have the guitar all wired, the tailpiece is in. It's kind of an interesting, it's a no-name Chinese-made tailpiece. It's kind of an interesting, it has a spring, it is a tremolo tailpiece. It has a spring underneath with an adjustment knob. That knob sticking out the back and is an adjustment. And it also has a little tag on that you can lock it in place if you want to. It actually seems to work pretty good. It's simple and it just tightens the strings by turning the knobs. So I'm getting ready to put the low and the high E on so I can adjust the string height. And here I put the keys in. Just put them on with a hot glue gun to the foam I'd already put down. And the customer's name is Ivan. Found out the radius. This happens to be a 14-inch radius on the fretboard. Here are the string saddles. They're all the same. they stack in this little pocket, and after you adjust the intonation, there's a set screw on one side, you tighten down and it just essentially holds them in place. And on the nut end I had to loosen up a set screw, loosen the set screw up, push the string through, tighten it down, and then put this little clamp on the top, and it has a 0 fret. Here's my first little problem I ran into. I centered the bridge assembly, and it's centered in the pocket that was machined into the body, but as you can see the strings are offset, and the neck did fit tightly in the body, so everything has to move a little bit. So what I'm going to do is later on I'll show you, I'm going to machine some off and essentially shift everything over. The other problem I had, and I should have checked into this a little bit closer, my neck has the right relief, but it's a little bit low. It should have been about 60 to 80 thousandths higher. So to cure that, I machined about 100 thousandths off the bottom of each one of the saddles, and then I took the saddle for the low E, and if you can see there, I machined about 100 thousandths off the side, and then I made a spacer the right width to put on the high E. So I'm essentially shifting all the strings over, and I retapped, put a new set screw in to adjust the string height. So somewhere along the line something got, the neck is, anyway, something is a little bit off. There you can see my spacer on the end, and I'll show it later on. Here the strings are all in and intonation is done. So the customer wanted green, black, and chrome. So those are the colors that we choose to go with. And since the customer is a computer programmer, I put some binary code on here, and he will have to decipher what it actually says. It does actually say something. I found a place on the internet. You can type in text and it'll convert it to binary code. So I put that on the top and also on the side of the guitar. So there's a little bit of a mystery for him to decipher. So yeah, the guitar is complete. It's kind of a cute little thing. It plays decent, sounds decent. There's our circuit board in the back, and I put a sticker over because when I clamped down the neck, I apparently caused a little bit of pressure on that epoxy, and there was kind of not a crack, but kind of a bubble formed in that epoxy, and in order to get rid of it, I covered it up with a sticker. so you can still plug in your serial port or whatever it is. Here you can see how I fixed my issue with the spacing. The saddle for the low E is narrower, and I put the correct amount over on the high E to move everything over. It isn't quite perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. It's playable, and actually this customer at this point is not a guitar player anyway, so which brings us to the next item, which is actually like a display shadow box the guitar will sit in. So I made this. It'll drop in, has a glass cover, has some LED lights, and that's what the guitar will look like when it's on display in the customer's home. Hang it over his bar. So, yeah, turned out good, and hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you.